What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stats to Assets podcast. And where is your host? Today it's me, Natalie Novosel, but I have a very special guest to introduce today. Your very own,
it's me,
Earnie Williams.
Coach E, baby.
Whoop, whoop.
Don't y'all miss me? Y'all better say yes.
We do, always.
What's up, Nat?
Absolutely. So I'm excited to be here, excited for you to be here, honestly, and in the hot seat for once. How about that?
I'm ready.
But I'm just excited to just kind of talk a little bit about you. Today's about you a little bit, and let the people know just kind of where is it that, how has your career shaped you, and a little bit of like how you've been able to give back to the game a little bit. So we'll kind of go on that journey a little bit today. But kind of just maybe starting us out a little bit, bring it back, like what was it about basketball that, first drew you to it? And what was it that made you want to pursue it and take it seriously?
Yeah, well, I was just good at it.
Right?
When you get a taste of winning, you're like, I can't get enough.
Yeah, I know that one.
No, like growing up, so my mom had me pretty young when she was still playing in college. She was like maybe 20, 21.
Wow.
And I was actually traveling with her. So maybe at age 1 or 2 or 3 or something like that. I was young, I don't know. But I was traveling with her when she was playing college, and I remember going everywhere with her. She is a national champion and at the NAIA division or level, but I remember being at practice. I remember hanging out with the managers, like in this big old, let's say, laundry basket rolling around as a little girl, So I think I was just in that environment, and then once my mom put me into like this basketball type of competition where, little kids just get to dribble around cones or pass the ball to a little spot on the wall type of stuff like that. And I won that in our town. And yeah, she started putting me into sports and put me into basketball things, playing rec ball. And then it just exploded from there. We were playing locally. Then we made a team from, small towns from around Hayes, Kansas. What's up, y'all?
Whoop, whoop.
And then I was good enough to link up with other girls that were spread out around Kansas. We didn't even practice. Like, this is how good we were. We were just spread out, and we would go to tournaments around. We'd just meet up and go to tournaments around Kansas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think she noticed that I enjoyed it, and I had a little bit of talent around it, so she fed me that.
Sure. So it sounds like she wasn't dragging you to the gym,
Oh,
right? You
no.
were dragging her to the gym.
I was dragging her, like, let's go. We got a tournament. Mom, we late. I hated being late.
Yeah. Right. Wow. I love that. Okay. Well, very cool. So kind of from that in college, got to pursue, you're fortunate enough to get a full ride, University of Texas, right, representing. And from then, how did your experience like with basketball in college? Because being a student athlete is pretty tough, it can be. How did that kind of shape you? Differed from someone who didn't have the responsibilities of being a student athlete.
Yeah, I mean, as well as I do, like, man, that year from high school, senior year in high school to college, that freshman year, you're just drinking from a water hose. Like, you are trying to figure it out. You're just trying to stay where you need to be. You're trying to understand. And so a lot of that was learning how to manage my time, understanding my priorities, and also understanding like the resources that I had for help, and learning how to say, I'm lost, I don't know what's going on, early in the process so that it doesn't affect you in any way later, right? I think I finally learned that maybe junior year, especially with like classes. I wanted a tutor no matter what. I don't care if I could ace it by myself. Give me a tutor so I can make sure I can stay like on target for my grades, because when conference gets, we go into conference and we're starting to play and travel, you can get behind very easily in college because there ain't no homework. It's you sit there and you just listen to the lectures, and then 2 weeks later you got a test and you're like, we just had a test. What is the test over?
Yeah, so let's say your college experience was pretty different than most people's. What was it that You know, it's one thing to make it to college and have a full ride, D1 at that, but most people don't make it from the college level to pro. Like, what did you do differently that allowed you to be able to go pro? You know, where you were, what were you doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always think about this so that I can try to explain it to the kids today, but what did I do differently? I think it was very, very basic. What I tried to do was understand the bare minimum. Not bare minimum, but like, what does it take to stay on the team, get good grades, be the athlete, be the student athlete that I wanted to be, and also know what my, like on the court, know what my skills were. What were the things that on any team, I can go to A&M, I can go to Waco or Baylor, what was it that I was gonna bring to that team? And I made sure I did that consistently, but also with the skills is like understanding what my coaches expected and wanted from me. Those can be different.
Right.
You know, you can have certain skills, but your coaches and team may only be asking you to do one thing at a high level every freaking night. Right. So I understood what I could bring, and I understood what they wanted me to bring. And sometimes those things change throughout the season and the years.
Wow.
So I just tried to do what I was supposed to do, and then do a little bit more.
Right.
So I could secure my spot.
There you go. I love that.
You know that?
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
Got to secure these spots.
Because someone's coming to take it.
People are transferring in, and got these new hot freshmen. I'm like, nah, I still got this. No, it's
that's
my
right. So I'm hearing coachability. I'm hearing extra effort. I'm hearing a lot of different intangibles that can come to. It comes down to skills, one thing, but we're really, like, what separated you, it sounds like, were some of those intangibles we talked about, like the coachability, doing the extra work, actually listening to what your coaches needed, right?
But let me add this too.
Go for it.
Also, staying out the way. Like, keep your name from out the coach's mouth in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like, if coach says, or our academic advisor says, everybody knows who the athletes are. When you go to class, you need to sit in the first 3 rows. Don't be trying to go up to the top and sit up there. They're going to tell on us. We're going to get in trouble. They see you, right?
Right.
So, yeah, like, it was like little stuff like that. Just do what you're supposed to do and be cool. And nobody's like going to be paying attention to you in a negative way, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Stay out the way, like, stay out of trouble, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Be kind and courteous to people, very respectful, and be about your business, and have just a good energy. I think when I go back to University of Texas and I'm talking to fans, or even I'm talking to people that were professors there, they just remember me as a hard worker, right? Somebody that would show up to class. I was present, right? And so nobody that was causing trouble. They remember that. They really do.
Yeah, I love it. What's that say? That quote, something about, you know, people will forget what you do, they'll forget what you say, but they'll never forget how they made you feel, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that's a really good, I think for you never lack energy, you know what I mean? And so I think people feed off of that. It's contagious, which is awesome. Did you ever go through a period of, you know, where it was rough, and kind of the second tier of that of, like, how do you feel about the transfer portal now? You know, we didn't really have that when we were there. And, you know, you either stuck it out, or we had to go to another conference, right? Like, what was it? Did you have to go through something like that? And then also, how do you feel about the transfer portal and how easily it is to kind of just, all right, I'm going to move on. This isn't right.
With the transfer portal, it's a positive and a negative. Like, there's pros for it for me. Like, if a kid doesn't feels like they made the wrong decision, and it really turned out to be like, hey, I can see my future. And it's not here. I do love that they can go somewhere and immediately have to play and not have to sit out a year. But it brings up, it allows people to not stick it out in a positive way, because they might need to grow. Yeah. You know, they might need to grow. You can't just be like, oh, I'm not getting playing time, I'm going to deuce out, I'm going to go over here to some other D1 or whatever level school, and think that I'm going to have a better chance at playing. It's the next level. So if freshman year you didn't get the playing time that you thought you would, it's okay. Figure it out. Like, what do you need to do?
Right.
It's college. You might have better players than you. Where are they better? Why are they better? What's the coach asking you to do? Or is it that you're capable physically, right? But you're causing problems. You're being a bad apple.
Right.
You don't listen to the coaches. They can't trust you. You're going out partying like you're not in the first 3 rows like we told you.
Right.
You know? People don't want to, or kids today they don't want to not wait their turn, but I would say work for their turn.
Yeah.
I think your turn is always coming. Coach is always looking down the bench to see who they can sub in when somebody ain't doing right. And it's your fault almost if they look at you and don't pick you. Yeah. Not all the time, but most of the time, if you haven't created enough value, enough skill, enough leadership, something that gives them value, and it's like, we need you for 2 minutes, need you for 3, we need you for 10, you know?
Yeah, your coach has got to trust you.
Man, you got to
in
work.
those situations, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of thinking to it. There's a lot of strategizing.
Yeah.
Like, I was always planning. I was always trying to see, how can I take my 3 skills and make them deeper? Yeah. Do I go deep into or do I widen and add another skill? Right. How do I come back next year, still be me, but be a little bit different?
Sure, yeah. That's great. I feel like you had a great thinking to the game that not a lot of people probably think about how to become elite, because really when it comes of the separators, the higher you go up, it's really those things of how better can I get with these few things rather than trying to add a whole nother repertoire, right?
Yeah.
Is that, because so after college, fortunate enough to be able to go pro, which, you're already elite in college D1, but then to go from elite to D1 to pro.
Yeah.
How was that transition? Where did you initially go overseas?
It's funny because I almost did not go overseas.
Oh, wow.
So the first rookie year I had, of course, dealing with an injury on my knee.
Oh.
Excuse me. It was something up with my adductor, and it was affecting my knee. And I was like, dang, maybe I just shouldn't go. And my mom was like, she's always that voice of reasoning and like, just try it. Yeah. And so I went. I had a contract. I got the contract for Portugal.
Love it.
Wnba is a college. It's like a college town, kind of like a couple hours from Lisbon. It was really cool. It was a really fun place to go for my first rookie season overseas, right? But I just said, I did my research around what the team was, what the country was about, the city, and I was like, okay, let's go. Yeah. Let's just try it. I mean, I can always come home.
Right.
Mom's here, right?
Right.
I can always get on the flight back and come home, rehab, or just go a different way. So I went, and I rehabbed. My knee got better, and I had a pretty good, cool, fun rookie season.
Yeah. Nice. Any challenges that you had to deal with in your first overseas?
I mean, just that normal first season away from home, language barrier, just a little bit. Okay. Most of my team and coach could speak English. It had the accent, it was understandable. But just being in another culture, another country, learning how to assimilate in a positive way, like being curious about how they live their lives. Right. And not being the spoiled, I'm going to say it, spoiled American that like, hey, we're used to a washer and a dryer. Right. Like, I went over there and we only had a washer. And so I was pissed about it like the first 3 months. But other than that, I was like, okay, let's grow up. It's not even that big of a deal. Sure. So, just it's little stuff like that. But also, man, I love the fact that I got to start traveling that young, 2021. It humbled me, and I understood like European culture slows down a little bit. I was so mad. Let me tell you this. My first season overseas, my mom sent me a package. First package I'm getting. We go to practice at 10, 12, we're done. 12 o'clock, it's noon. It's like midday. Right. I'm going to the post office to get my package because Mom got all the good snacks. Absolutely. I'm ready. I'm ready for my Reese's. And it's closed. it's like, it's closed. Ain't nobody working. I'm like, it's 12 o'clock. Why is the post office
Right,
closed?
right.
Like, here, the post office is open.
Yeah.
So something like, I was
What were
so
they doing,
annoyed.
taking a nap?
So annoyed. No, like, it's, they really close down. Like, you know, middle of the day, they close down and just go on 2-hour lunch or rest. And they come back at like 3 and work a little bit later.
Sure.
So like, that was the difference I kind of noticed the first couple years I played in Portugal and Spain. Like, stuff is closed in the middle of the day.
Yeah, that's wild.
They don't work they don't see work like we do, I think, in the States.
Sure.
Work nonstop. They're like, I'm gonna work, but I'm about to stop.
Yeah.
And then I might come back to work.
That's right. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, I bet a big difference now. I mean, you're late if you don't get up by 7, 8 nowadays.
You're behind, you're done for the day.
Days, yeah, absolutely.
And you got traffic. Come on. If you're on site.
Goodness gracious. Wow. Well, so how did you deal with missing friends, family? Like, slows down a little bit over there, get more time on your hands, a time difference. Like, how did you handle all of that?
I always, you know, I miss my mom. I missed, for the first year at least, for sure, what was normal, right? Being home, knowing where things were, having a car, you know, being independent, I guess.
Sure.
In the States. But yeah, you are a little bit more dependent on coaches or people that are helping the team for a ride to the store or helping you figure out where things are. And that just comes with the territory. You have to kind of like be okay with that. Yeah. You're not in your country and you don't know where things are. So lean on your team, lean on the people that are around to support you. So I leaned on others. My teammate, Kiva Herman, she played at San Diego State, I believe. And she was my other American with me.
Sure.
Super fun.
That's great.
It was great to have her as a teammate.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
like I'm sure you can agree to this. All the maybe American teammates or other teammates that you've developed relationships.
Absolutely.
Like you're gonna be friends for life.
Good, yeah.
Just from playing overseas and playing with them one season. That was my first season. And we didn't get to play with each other again.
Ever again.
But we're really tight.
So
we're
close.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. One of your better decisions to go overseas?
Yes, just go. Sometimes you just gotta go,
Yeah.
and you'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
this is what made me go too. Is I didn't want to regret the opportunity of not going. It was my dream to play professional basketball.
Yeah. So you saw that it was scary though,
Yeah.
but then you fought through it, and it's kind of speak to that support system around you. You know, like having those people in your life, and why is it important to have people who are maybe have a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more, picture outside of the frame, can see in a little bit. How having that support system, people that have already been there, why is that important?
Man, that's important because you might talk yourself out of opportunities, experiences, because something's blocking your vision. It might be fear. It might be because you don't know what's to come. And a lot of times in life, what I've learned after, being an adult is like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You're not going to know. You're not going to know why something happened. It's just like, what's the next best move for you? Whatever you think it is, do it. And you'll figure it out if was it the right move, was it not? Right? And we just keep playing, right? It's the next play. It's like basketball. It's the next play. Yeah. Shot the ball, missed, next play. Try to get the rebound, put it back, right?
Yeah.
Next play, keep going.
Absolutely. What would you say to athletes who do want to go pro? Maybe they're in college, maybe they're high level, maybe they're not high level, they want to keep playing though. Like, what would you say to some of those athletes who are trying to kind of walk in your footsteps?
Do what you feel like you're called to do. Chase that dream. What's crazy is like, I played D1. I played at the University of Texas for college. When I went overseas and I was playing against and with other women, they were from all different levels. And the stories that I heard about another D1 player that sat the bench at a big school, did not really play. Yeah. She was my teammate in Romania, and she led the league 30-35 every night.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't believe her. She was I didn't get burned. I didn't get playing time at her college. And
that's wild.
I was like, that's a lie. You're so lying.
Yeah.
And she showed me the stats. She showed me the And I was like, that's crazy.
It's remarkable.
You are a baller.
Right.
And then I played with someone that was a point guard for like D2 or D3. Hooper. Just hooper. Right. And so also it's like, you know, if you have D1, like, I guess ability, there's some players that have D1 ability and get those, but they decide to go D2 because their experience is going to be a little bit more tailored to them.
Right.
So it's all about, where do you see you can have the most opportunity to develop into the player that you want if you're wanting to go overseas.
Right.
You try to make the best college decision on where you want to end up in 4 years. What coaches, what set of coaches, what upperclassmen do you think will help you get to that player that you want to be when you graduate and go on? Like, that was my framework of thinking. Coach Conrad, Coach Aston, Coach Travis Mays, they actually showed in their recruiting that they cared for me and they wanted me. They were at volleyball games when my volleyball team sucked in high school. We're getting pounded and they're there. I'm like, why are you here?
Wow.
This is embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
At AAU tournaments, you know, and it was all of them. It wasn't just one, you know. But also, like, I believe that, well, first of all, they had a tradition of winning.
Yeah.
They have a tradition.
Yeah.
All sports at UT has a tradition of winning. They just have their own, you know, Longhorn pride thing going on. I'm like, that's special. But to know Coach Conrad's background of really pushing for Title IX and women's sports and basketball too, but then Travis Mays played professionally in the NBA. And then Clarissa Davis came on. She was a badass at UT,
Right. Wow.
right? Coming back to coach and help us. And so I had great coaches. I had cool, crazy upperclassmen. Got to play with Tiffany Jackson from Dallas for 2 years. Got to play with Nina Norman for 1. She was a really stellar point guard. And, you know, like, my team, my actual group that came in, we were like 6 of us.
Right.
3 McDonald's All-Americans, 3 others that could have been McDonald's All-Americans. Like, it was just a squad, right? And so I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could rise.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I always do. Like, that's
Right.
what I've learned about myself is, like, I kind of feed off of other people being better than me
Sure.
because I know I need to get to that level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Wow.
Some people, I'm not going to say people, but some players, I do believe that they shrink from that. They look at that roster and they think, like, dang, am I going to get playing time?
Yeah.
You know? How can I beat them out?
Yeah.
But also it's like, also think about you having to, how much better are you going to be at the end of the day in 1 year, 2 or 4 years because you had to go against this one person, because you had this coach that's on you and not going to let you fail or take yourself in the wrong direction.
Right.
It's going to hurt because that's the path you need to go, you know?
Right.
It's always going to hurt.
So
That's going to be a struggle.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of hurt, how did, you know, you don't get to where you were, the success and pro and beyond without dealing with some injuries, right?
What?
How did injuries, like, shape you? Because sometimes they can break people, you know? How did you push through them? How did you get through them and to carry on?
Woo, I've been through so many. I'm broken right now. You know? No.
You beat up by Jim.
Beat up. I was like, dang, I think I should have did swimming so I can at least have my joints.
Ooh, yeah.
And I can still go work out hard and beat people in Tough Mudders and stuff. I don't know.
Love it.
But
I wish a weekend warrior.
I can't even do that now. I'm mad about it. But the question, injuries. My first ACL tear, freshman year in high school.
High school, right?
And I missed. It was right before state tournament.
Oh,
missed the state tournament.
it's devastating.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was heated. That was my first real big injury.
Yeah.
Didn't know what was happening. Super scared. Had surgery and it was, kind of at the end of the school year. So I also didn't want to miss summer or the summer, national tournament. And I think when people say man, you're not gonna turn out the same. You're not gonna be the same, or just those the mind tricks of what if I'm not going to be good again? What if? Yeah. And some of that stuff like really drove me. It really drove me to do what I'm supposed to do with my workouts, my therapy, and come back, and also still stay engaged and attached to the game, and try to get better with the X and O's of it. Try to get better with the leadership of it. Yeah. So yeah, I would give myself maybe a week to cry and be mad and like boo-hoo. Right. But after that, you got to pick yourself up and you got to get the plan. You got a strength coach, you have a therapist, you have somebody around you. Get the plan from them and let's attack it. Right. That's it. Yeah. And you know, like if you're sitting on the side and you seeing the game, you're like, y'all don't see what she's doing. Lock her up. She's gonna go left again. Brutal. I'm like, oh, I have to get back out here. Yeah. I can't do this anymore. Right. So there's many things that like if you stay attached to the game, your hunger it'll get you through.
Yeah. Well, to talk about that mental side of things, you know, injury, physical is one thing. Obviously, you're healing, but how do they play a part of the mental? I know you just talked a little bit about it, but expand on you know, like. How do you deal with that to push through it and coming back?
One day at a time. Self-belief. And I think I was a big dreamer of like trying to imagine what I would be playing, what my body would look like when I'm all ripped up and in shape, and the doctor says, hey, you're ready to go, right? Yeah. What does it look like to play that first day of practice? What does it look like to get to the end of the, get to a conference and we're playing OU? Yeah. Like I'm imagining if I do my work, we're going to be in the championship with OU. If I do my work, we're going to make the not the national tournament, but the NCAA tournament, you know? Yeah. I'm imagining where I want to be. And so that drives me too.
So you're not focused just on the ins and outs, trying to learn to walk again, trying to learn to do your little hip leg raise. You're literally thinking on, this is what we're moving towards. This is the bigger goal.
It's both. Yeah. It's definitely a lot of the goal, the long-term goal. So you stay like excited and ignited about it, but also understanding like you have to take it a day at a time. You can't miss today's workout. Yeah. If you have therapy 3 times a day, you need to do your 3 times a day. Right. Right, and so it's a mix. It's like, do what I gotta do in this hour, go hard, and imagine like, dang, I just crushed it. Right. Ooh, I can't wait to get to the Paris twins. I can't wait to get to them. Right.
Yeah, God, that's gold. That's gold. Back and forth for sure. Speaking of like, take it one step further. People day in and day out, they're performing, right? Whether it be at work, whether it be on the court and on the field, whatever it is. Like, did you ever deal with performance anxiety, or even like how do you manage that stress, maybe in game, but also when you're going through a slump, you know?
Ooh, that's really good. I look back on my college career and pro, and I'm like, I don't know how I did it because I had anxiety almost all of the time. At some levels. Sometimes it's really, really high. Sometimes it was low. Because when you're on those highs, you're playing good, team's good, you smacking people, right? There's not a lot to like be anxious about, but sometimes my body like is tired. We don't really have time for rest, right? We got 3 road games coming up, and they all gonna be killers. Right. Like they're coming for us. So ask that question one more time.
Like, do you feel, like, how did you deal with stress is one thing, but maybe like in-game anxiety, or when you're going through a slump, what are the steps you took to get back your confidence, to get back to where you know that you're stepping on the court and you are the best one out there? You know, like that mentality. Like, how did you get it? If you lost it sometimes, you know, how did you get it back?
Yeah, how did you get it back? Cool. For slumps, it was just keep going. It was whether I was like not shooting my best, free throws. Like I love free throws. I was like 90%. Sometimes I would get to I would not want to get fouled.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy. Yeah. Like what's going on?
Yeah, it's tough.
So I put a little bit more work in. I would, let's say, tell a teammate, tell a coach that I'm going through this. Like you have to open up and allow people to come help you. But you also have to keep shooting and keep doing that skill. If you're having issues with a skill, right? Or a situation, you have to dig yourself out of that slump or that hole with putting yourself into that situation in different ways that are going to raise your anxiety. Like if it's in game, start, like I hated because I was a smaller post player. I was undersized. I hated getting the ball right under the basket. Yeah. So I was like, they're gonna smack my stuff like national championship volleyball game.
Yikes, and that's the worst.
Oh
too.
my gosh, especially if you're
getting
post player, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
getting it blocked like that. Yeah, there's nothing worse.
And so I would practice under the basket. I would get a heavy ball, right? Practice fakes. I would practice my shots. I would practice not just going up, but just the different types of moves to get open and see. And then I would add some contact, have somebody do some contact, or add contact and a defender, for example, and just put myself in those situations. The more I put myself in those situations, the slower that moment got. Because when you're anxious and you're in a certain situation, it's like you make a fast decision and it's not the right. It might not be the right one, and you don't get to see the play before it happens. Right. Like Kobe talked a lot about him being able to play the game in slow motion. How fun is that to play the game? Basketball's fast, right? How fun is that to play in slow motion? And you're just like, oh, I see this play about to boom,
right?
Alley-oop, like what?
Absolutely.
And so the more times that you put yourself in certain situations, understand your options, and just try to feed those options. And then, for example, I'm just very basketball based, but put yourself in, give yourself 2 options, and then like, let's say 2 reads. Try to make the right reads. Try to make the right move. Right. You know, it's just
Getting
a lot of imagery.
Basics.
A lot of basics, and focusing on one thing. Right. It's not focusing on everything.
Yeah.
It's focusing, and for athletes or any sport, focus on the situations that you're going to be in defensively and offensively, with the offenses the sets that you run on your team, with your team. AAU, where are you in your offenses when you go in? Right. If you're not at the 3-point line, most of your time does not need to be at the 3-point line. You need to earn 3-point line time. by doing the others, like good at the other spots that you're at. So your coach, because if you go in there and take that 3 and you haven't earned that, coach to overlook it and be like,
taking liberties.
Taking liberties.
Absolutely.
Rather than
right, yeah, you already know what's coming. Tweet,
get out. Nobody told you to take that 3.
Yeah.
You ain't even making layups.
Oh, wow. Yep. We all know that. That is gold. Okay, so tell me this, E. Like, if I were to ask any athlete, you know, this question, they're gonna have them lined up. You know, most people I would say have these more so, or just like the question is like, any regrets you have when it comes to your basketball career, or just it's easier probably for some people to remember the negative things. Any regrets that you have?
Yes. In the middle of my pro career, I would say year 3 or 4, I was having a lot of knee injuries, knee pain, we'll say. It wasn't stopping me from playing, but it was just aggravating, and it was like shortly getting worse. And so I wish I would have been strong enough or had more alumni around me to say, hey, take a year off, work on your body, come home, get the therapies you need, the massage, the acupuncture, go to a doctor, see what's happening, and just get in shape, get strong as you can, and then you go back over and just kill them. Right. But you know how, you probably heard this, like within basketball, if you take a year off, it might be harder to get a contract. Absolutely. Right? They might pay you less than what you would be making. And I think I let that feed into my fear of taking care of my body. Yeah. I really do. Like, that's for sure one of my regrets is not taking care of my body and saying, hey, let's take some time off.
Yeah.
Physically, for sure, but mentally, you're going to grow.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have been in that stressful state of trying to perform on a bum knees, bum ankle.
Which added a lot more stress, I imagine. Yep,
Stressed
exactly.
out. I had stress. It's up and down, but I pretty much was like, I had times where I would come to practice. I just pray like, hey, can I get through this practice without an ACL tear, injury that could end it all? Can I just get through this day?
Wow.
Crazy. And it's like a cloud,
very stressful.
a gray cloud over you. And I performed, but I'm like, imagine being more healthy than that. I could have been killing. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, having a good time and leading my team and everything physically and as a leader, you know?
Right.
But what if I could have played without that stress? 50% of that stress taken away. Oh my gosh. I could have actually also just enjoyed being overseas, because when I was in that pain and I was in that anxiety, I wouldn't hang out as much with my teammates. I wouldn't go explore. I'm just in my room waiting for practice or, you know, got my legs propped up because I'm just trying to figure out how to recover.
Yeah. Dang. I think that's a good lesson that anybody can take away of taking care of you is always good for everything in your life, everybody around you, your career, you know, whatever it is, relationships, anything. I can definitely see that. On the same vein, a little different, opposite of, what would you say you're most proud of? From your basketball career.
From career?
Yeah.
What am I most proud of? For sure, I'm most proud of, like, not giving up. First of all, taking that first step of going overseas my first year, because that really led to, like, 8 years that I enjoyed. With all the stress that I had, all the injuries, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I would still be playing now if I could.
Right. Oh, my gosh, you and me both. Absolutely.
I loved basketball. It was honestly my first love. So just believing in myself and going for my dreams that I had always thought of. I never knew what the WNBA was. I never knew what pro was. Like growing up, I just want to play with the best people.
Right.
I just want to be the best I could. So I did that.
That's great.
Regrets, right?
No, I was talking about most proud of, but
most proud of, yeah.
I like that though. Like, it sounds like you were able to take what you were able to do and then continue to go further with it. Like, the trend I'm seeing is you had a lot of growth, but you kept pushing that perseverance despite a lot of these setbacks, right? Which is a lot of people kind of get stuck in that. How is life, the transition been?
Yeah.
Life is lifing, but how's that transition been from basketball to life after? How did you do it?
My transition was real bumpy.
Uh-oh.
Houston, we got a problem.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so I played 7 to 8 years, and I actually had to retire because of my body finally was like, hey, we're done.
They retired. You didn't retire, yeah.
They retired, so we sat on down.
Dang.
But this is one of my big regrets, too, is playing so long, almost a decade. I did not further my skills that I had from my major, right?
Sure.
I had a computer science degree. I didn't do any extra coding. I didn't learn anything else. I didn't focus on anything else to build skills to prepare for retirement.
Yeah.
Or even just to make some more money while I was overseas.
Right.
A lot of, and so for all the basketball players that's overseas, y'all got time. Stop acting like y'all busy. You better figure out another skill.
Got some time.
You don't have class no more. Nobody telling you where to be. You just practice. You work out. You go to. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got time. Y'all better figure this out. But what if I could have invested in a property, single family home or multi-unit, one per year? I would have at least 7 to 8 properties.
Yeah.
And that could have eliminated a little bit of financial anxiety, right? Because I can't play anymore, so I don't have any money coming in.
Right.
I also didn't do networking, so I'm not coming home with a network to say, hey, I'm home. What kind of sales job do you have available? What kind of this leadership, management role or whatever role I can get into? Didn't have that. Didn't even know what industries were that I would be interested in. I didn't know my skills. So I was really attached to my identity as an athlete or basketball player for my whole career, and so it bit me in the butt when I had to retire.
Yeah.
So not being able to really have a retirement plan or package idea was one of my big regrets too, and that's why I'm so passionate about helping athletes, helping women athletes like us prepare. I should have been preparing the second I got that contract and you go overseas for your first year.
Yeah.
You need to act like you might not play next year.
Right.
What's your plan?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
You know.
Yeah, I think that's really good. So what were some steps that you had to take, or maybe you wish you, like, it sounds, I hear what you're saying about steps you wish you would have taken, but like for other athletes maybe in the same situation, how did you move past that? It was bumpy. Like how have you been able to make it smooth a little bit for you?
Yeah. First, getting my mental health. Like you really have to focus on your mental health, especially if you have to retire because of an injury, or you also just like you don't have passion anymore for it. You're breaking up from something that you had a passion for. You had a relationship with for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure that you can find some type of mental health resources and just a way for you to take your time and grieve that loss, and then start to get to know yourself again. What hobbies do you like? What are you interested in? Because I had forgotten. I was like a freaking nerd. I love computer technology and stuff. Like I do a lot of that now, and just research and AI, and just find it so interesting. Yeah. And so that's what I would say. I would say try to connect back to yourself, and look back to even when you were a kid. What stuff did you like to do?
Right.
What did you like to do in college? And it's really important for college athletes now to still be multi-talented or pay attention to their hobbies,
right,
along with whatever sport they're playing.
Yeah.
So you don't forget yourself. We have many slices of ourselves, like a pizza.
Yeah.
Many different sizes, and so pay attention to those. Give those some plant, like water those like plants. Allow them to grow.
Yeah. Wow, that's great advice. What would you say to someone, like if you were talking to your older self, and if you could give back to people in your position now, like, what are some things they could do, or you would encourage them to do while they're either transitioning, like in college to just normal life after, or from college to be able to go to pro, to be able to be successful after pro? What are some things that they can be doing?
For the college kids right now that are won't go pro and go into the working world, I would say, for both actually, I would say this in the beginning. Think about the life that you want to live. Design your life. So people I'll probably always ask us, like, what are you gonna do? What's your job gonna be?
That's right.
I think the question is more so, what type of life do you want to live? Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? And then, like that, I'm a dreamer, so I like to think about the end goal. In 5 years, I want to be living like this. I want to have these luxuries. Mm-hmm. Okay, so like more so, let's reverse engineer it. So if that's the life that you want to go for in the next 5 years or the 10 years, we need to start being intentional about how we're going to save money.
Right.
And I would tell this to kids now. Nobody wants to move in with their parents after they graduate.
Right.
But if you're trying to live a certain way in 5 years or 10 years and your parents are cool with you coming back, there's nothing wrong with staying home 1 or 2 years and saving some money for a business.
Right.
Or investing.
Yeah.
Or your own house if you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Allow that luxury that some athletes don't have parents. Some athletes don't have that connection to family. They don't have that luxury of being able to have a safe home to get them further financially. I would say go home and focus. So now let's see if we can save money staying with family or even some roommates. Don't be trying to pay full price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Until you can really afford it. And then figure out career, or how are you going to make money? So it's either going to be, you have a corporate job, or you want to start a business, or both.
Yeah.
sometime, right?
Yeah.
I believe we both are entrepreneurs. We believe in that, but you have to be able to make money first. I say have a job and use that job as your first investor into your company.
I love that. I love that.
That income that you get, they're investing into your company.
Yeah.
Or whatever type of projects that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the career, figuring out money. Now you got to get some financial literacy.
Yeah.
The money that you're making, you have to be able to manage it. You can't be in your 20s or 30s. I did it, but look, don't do it. I mean, I was overseas, but you can't be just throwing away money. Don't be drinking and smoking and going out every weekend. That's not bringing you money. That's not going to lead to wealth in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think these kids have it so good with the NIL. It's new, but it's like there's such an opportunity to not leave college broke, but also for the kids that are D2, D3, and they're actually playing sports and have to pay for it. We forget that. D1,
right.
we get a little spoiled sometimes.
Right.
We forget, and I'm so sorry, but man, I couldn't imagine have to come up with money for a scholarship and be a full-time student athlete.
Yeah.
I got on a rant, but I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, do you think NIL is you're talking about managing your finances and why
Yes.
that's so important? Do you think that like now that they have an opportunity to be able to potentially leave college with some money, do you think the NIL is detrimental or is it helpful? What do you think?
It's more helpful for the athletes than detrimental, for sure. Now,
Absolutely.
like you said, they get more of an opportunity to leave college with a little stash. I mean, I had like fast for what is it called, scholarships or something. So I saved up money like $8,000.
Yeah.
And I bought a car.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. But now it's like $8,000 might be one little brand deal.
I know.
them.
It's crazy.
So yeah, I would say understand branding. Really understand how to brand yourself. Whether you're going to get an NIL deal or you're just building your brand for something that is going to surpass the 4 years that you're at college. But yeah, use that money. Now you're able to make money, but you have to learn finances, how to budget and stay with the budget. Don't be living with high expenses that you don't really need right now at 21, 22. You okay? You gonna make it to 30? Ball out when you 30 and you have net worth.
Absolutely.
You have investments. You have stocks. You have a running business that's you cash flowing, cha-chinging every day.
Right.
Okay. Saving. What else? What else is financial? There's so much. Understanding taxes. I didn't know a darn thing about
Right.
taxes.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning, but taxes, especially with the NIL, you have a business partner you don't even know.
Don't
You
none
don't
of right.
have no contract with. They just coming in, give me
man.
that. And so it's like, hey, with taxes, like you gotta understand that if you're making 100,000, it ain't 100,000.
Right.
You might be 70, and you're like, dang, you thought you had 100, but no, you have to pay taxes. So understanding that, when you understand that, that'll help you, I think, be a little bit more hungry, be a little bit more mindful about your spending.
Yeah.
And then you need to know investing. How do you multiply your money without spending more time, without working more past 40 hours,
Yeah. That's great.
killing yourself?
Yeah.
Right?
Goodness.
Yeah.
How information is so accessible nowadays. So what would you say to some of these people who, because majority of people, it's not financial literacy, maybe not taught. How do they get a crash course in taxes, in budgeting, in like where would you steer some of these people to? Is it people having mentors? Like what would you say?
If you can, I think the best thing, if you can have a mentor that that's in person and you can literally call them, sit down with them, that's always going to be the best way to learn and have access right at your fingertips. But also you have access at your fingertips in another way. You have YouTube, you have people's podcasts, you have people sharing really good game for the free and the low.
Right.
But the thing is there's so much information you have to do your own research to know who's actually telling you the right things.
Sure.
And then your first investment is investing in yourself for coaches, for a course to learn more. And I learned this too. I buy a lot of courses and I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
How do I phrase this? So it's okay if you buy a course for $1,000, it's okay if you only take one thing from that course. That one thing might scale your business. That one thing might open up another set of income streams for you. It's okay. So make sure you're at least going to take one thing from something that you buy, a conference that you buy, or get a ticket to, but then finding those conferences, connecting with those people that have the same mind that you do around finances, around business, around getting into tech, right? Or getting into the medical space.
Yeah.
Find those people. And just like athletes, you want to be around on your team, you want to hang around with the people that is actually going to practice, going to shoot, going and getting in the gym.
That's a cheat code right there.
So it's nothing different than we know how to do.
Absolutely.
Get around the people that's putting the reps in.
Yeah.
And it's going to rub off on you.
Yeah, that's
right.
great.
So if you're hanging out with the people that trying to skip class and not do their workouts, guess what? You're going to be in trouble just like
You're
them.
the fifth person to do that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really good. Is there a skill, Earnie, that like you were surprised you needed after basketball, or a skill or two that you're like, man, if I would have like understood the importance of this in college, while I was playing, like, is there a skill or two?
Absolutely. I tend to be introverted. I've always been introverted, and so communication, being okay speaking, but also now in this age, being okay speaking about what you do, and not having don't have quiet humbleness. You can be humble, but you can still let people know loudly about what you do, right? As passion. So like, I'll tell you a really quick story, man. Like, I think it was freshman year or sophomore year. I did not like speaking so much that I had this speech class we had to take. And I told them, I went to that class the first day, I said, take me out. I'm not getting in front of no class talking and doing nothing.
Right.
So nervous. I wish one of my academic advisors would have talked me into keeping it.
And like, keep it.
Talk
Just
me
like your
into
mom
keeping
did, right?
Even now with today, like kids, the athletes have a lot more ability to be seen. And they speak very well. They're okay with it. I think it's just the difference of the generations and times and being on social media. It's normal. We didn't have social media too much, I guess. We only have Facebook, maybe. But be able to communicate your value and really sell yourself.
Oh, that's a nugget
I did not know how to sell myself, and I'm still learning. I'm like, dang, that's the skill. Yeah. Sell yourself through communication. Sell yourself through, hey, this is what I do and what I bring to the table.
Right. Your
that's
story,
is
everything. Yeah, that's great. Let me ask you, why do you feel mentorship? Like, why are you so passionate about mentoring young kids?
Yeah.
In the same shoes you were in. Why is that so important to you?
Because I know if they're in the same shoes I was in, I know what they're gonna go through. I know what they're going through now. Some things can be avoided, or it's just you knowing that it could happen and you preparing for it. A lot of things caused me so much anxiety, so much my confidence wavered. Yeah. Right? And so if I can help share my story and share what I would have done or what you could do today to bypass those or prepare for those moments, I think they will be very confident and very in a good place financially. And really the big passion for me is finances. I want athletes to be financially stable.
That's amazing.
And they have the leg up right now with NIL at all levels. Like even D3, NAIA, you might not be getting the big NIL dollars, but schools in those small towns, they go crazy.
Right.
At least packing the house. At least you can get some food from the local steakhouse. You might be able to get a deal with the car dealership. Even the couple towns over, they come in for the football games. They're coming for the games.
Remarkable.
Hey, you just have to take the big scale, some of those big scale deals, and see how you can make it on a smaller scale.
Yeah, that's great. Well, E, let me wrap up with this one. What's a goal you're working on right now, or a couple goals? Like what are you working towards right now?
Yeah, right now I'm really excited. So I've started a mentorship group called Ambitious Athletes Group. It's on these platforms, School, SKOOL.com. And it's just going to be this mentorship group, this place where we can have community. I'm going to be teaching about NIL, going to be teaching about branding, teaching finances, taxes. So bringing other cool specialists on Zoom calls, so we can have coaching like from you,
Woo.
You in the finance space, my girl, and bringing other athletes on to share their stories and tell us, what other ways they went when they graduated and went into the working force, or when they graduated and went pro. What did they do? Yeah. And there's still some athletes now that I want to share their stories that graduated, same position as me, didn't know what was going on, but now they have, I don't know, $5 million net worth in real estate.
Yeah.
That's who I want these athletes to be exposed to and hear from, because early in their career, just to set them up.
Right.
Set them up.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So we're not going to, sorry to say, we ain't going to get it from college. We're not going to get it from school.
No. I'm
a fan of college, but you're not going to get the finances and the understanding of
life.
What real life is going to be like on your own. So you got to get it from some alumni like us, or people that are teaching specific, specific things.
Yeah,
that you need to learn.
School education, there's that life education. Y'all need the life education.
You need life education. So, yeah, I really and want to learn from people that are really passionate about it and really can understand your specific journey. Both basketball players, both been through injuries, traveled the world, ups and downs, both worked our butts off, right? And we're both hungry and we're dreamers. So,
yeah, I love it. Awesome, E. Well, great. You did a great job in the hot seat. No surprise there. So kudos. Absolutely. Thank you for letting me host you. Absolutely.
This was fun.
And we're not done always. I'm excited.
Always. We got some more for y'all.
That's right. Keep it rolling. Well, appreciate you.
Thank you, baby.
Thanks, E.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.